Hey everyone, Travis here at the very end of day one, week two of the summer split of the LCS in the year 2014. Joined by Balls, Cloud9. You guys just beat a team. You have a victory underneath your belt. Balls, during that game, for some reason, everybody kept screaming Balls. Like the audience was doing it. They were chanting it literally every time you went on camera. They would suddenly freak out and say Balls. And then even afterwards, when you went out into the audience to do signatures outside, everybody was freaking out. Do you have any idea what happened?
I have no clue why everyone was chanting balls, but like even in the game when I was like just killing creeps and stuff, people were yelling balls, balls, balls. I was like, what's going on? And it's like, oh,
Did that freak you out? Were you like, is somebody going to come kill me or something?
I honestly thought something was happening or like Eve was just trying to kill me or something. But like when I first heard the chant, it was because I got ganked by Eve and Liv, and everyone was chanting balls. So I was like, well,
Well, indeed. It's very strange. So you didn't have like any family here or any like friends or anything that just started that chant or anything like that? It was just suddenly a thing.
I think it was just random fans just yelling balls just for fun.
Well, I mean, that does happen sometimes. Anyway, let's talk about that game. What happened? What are you guys back in form, et cetera? Like, how did you feel about that game? I guess is a good way to put it.
Honestly, I thought we played solid that game, but it pretty much snowballed from the dragon fight when we got like 3 kills, and then we just had to like not throw any lead and just play safe, and we would eventually win that game. Also, cause they have no tank, and Eve was really behind after that dragon fight, so we pretty much just play the game, farm, and just take the win.
Well, I don't know if you heard about this, but I heard about it about 100 times in the past week. You guys actually lost 2 games in a row. I read about it. I heard about it. The casters mentioned it. Apparently, like this is just the biggest thing in the world that you guys would actually lose 2 games in a row last week for the first time ever. What afterwards were you guys feeling really freaked out about that, or were you just like, eh?
Honestly, we didn't have much practice before that week, and we play like shit, but it happens. And every time we lose, I think we learn a lot from it. And then every time we lose, like just like losing that bad, we get really frustrated, and we just like learn from it. Like after that loss, we practice even more the week after that, and we just practice a lot, play a lot of solo queue, and just trying to get back into form. And it sucks that Hai had a collapsed lung right before, and we couldn't practice that much with him, but it happens, and we just gotta come back from that slump.
Do you think that you guys are out of the slump? Do you think you guys are back in form, like as good as you were at the end of last split?
I think we're starting to get back out from that slump, but there's not much to say right now. We only played 1 game, and we still have a lot of games to go, so there's not much to tell right now.
All right, let's get into some stuff. What do you think? There's a lot of new faces, new teams, etc. What do you think of LMQ now? Because a lot of people are like, "Is LMQ the new C9?" All that kind of thing. Like even some frustrating esports journalists that go on Twitter to build hype. Like what do you think of that idea and of LMQ in general?
Well, they came from China, so they're all pretty aggressive. They also play a lot of solo queue, which is really impressive when they first came here. So that's why I probably think they're really good. But they came from a challenger scene where they didn't get much exposure playing against LCS teams right now. So they pretty much just lost to one team against Dignitas right now, and they're really good. But I'm not sure how much they will fare against the top teams because I think they had a pretty easy first week. So it's really hard to tell if they're going to be top 3 or not, but we'll see.
Now, our other Asian import to North America is Seraph, who's a top laner. You're a top laner yourself. Somewhat curious about what your thoughts on Seraph are. A lot of people saying he's overhyped. A lot of people saying his first week out he didn't do very well. And so, you being what many would consider the best top laner in North America, what are your thoughts on the new Korean face in the LCS?
Honestly, I think the people that come from Korea, their laning is like almost the same as top laner right now. It's just that what they do after like team fight and synergy with their team and stuff is like way different. Like I lane against Impact in Korea, and he's like probably the best top laner right now. Cause after I played against him, I did not expect someone to play a lane like that. Like he would freeze the lane a lot and like deny everything from you. And when you try to see us, he would just fight for it. And I learned a lot after playing against him. So playing against Seraph was like nothing new for me, but probably new for the other top laners. But it's hard to tell right now since the meta is like for top lane, you're just roaming with your jungle, so there's not that much 1v1s. But uh, later when I see how Seraph does 1v1s against the other laners is when I can tell how good he is.
So it's probably was like you had just come back from Paris where you'd played against Impact, and then you come here and you see Seraph, and you're like, well, I just went up against maybe the best like top laner in the world, or at least in Korea, so this isn't as big of a deal for me. I gotcha. Yeah. Other than that, just any interesting stuff happening with Cloud9? Any hype? You guys are now sponsored by the Air Force Reserve, which I think is really interesting. Lots of people making Cloud9 puns with Air Force stuff and planes and all that kind of thing. But other than that, any interesting stuff going on in Cloud9?
Well, not much really. We're just playing a lot of solo queue and playing League of Legends. Really fun.
That tends to be what League of Legends pro teams do, so I'm not surprised. Any shout-outs, plugs, anything you want to say to any of the Balls fans who were going crazy here or at home or on Twitter?
Thanks to all the fans shouting out balls. That was, I don't know what to say. Yeah, there's nothing to say about people yelling balls.
Well, thanks so much, Balls, for the interview. Really appreciate it. You can check out the rest of our coverage of all things LCS and Balls. Are you okay? You're like groaning right now next to me.
No, I'm good. I'm just too excited from Red Bull. Too much Red Bull.
Oh, I see. Is that what carried you in that game?
A little bit. Yo, I heard Doublelift goes to the gym a lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. That's the one last thing I should say. Okay, so a lot of people don't know this, but you are like really ripped underneath all this. You hide it because you're wearing like these bigger clothes or whatever, but I've seen you shirtless at parties where you are having a good time, and you're super ripped. Now, Doublelift, I think, another person in the LCS trying to do that, and he ended up in urgent care at the hospital because he was lifting stuff. Any thoughts on Doublelift's inability to lift?
He must be lifting really heavy stuff and he's getting that much trouble, but I have no clue what he's doing up there.
I don't know either. Hopefully, we'll find out, and if we do, we'll be sure to publish the information on ongamers.com.
Must be so much potential right there.